Is this to hear you talk? Is this to hear you talk?
Is this to hear you talk? No,
No,
this is how you sound. This is how you sound. People listening.
Okay.
Yo, 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 yo. Yeah. So.
Yo, yo, ma.
Okay, good.
Ma.
I don't know if I'm gonna listen
where
to
are
it
you?
because it takes me out of the moment. It really does. It makes me more aware. I just like talking freely.
Oh, you didn't know you were talking.
I'm saying like
I understand.
I talk better. I'm a better human.
This makes you think.
We should roll
You're
as
not
soon
right
as Chico. As soon as you're able to roll, you just roll. Oh no, we have to make sure the things are right. I'm saying you don't need to. I'm saying for the future, you don't even need to tell me.
Yeah, I've been rolling for the
He's
past
been
few
rolling.
minutes.
Oh! We have to share. We have to share a glass. That'll be the sacred thing. Bless the water for hydrating us and keeping us fresh, oxygenating ourselves. This is from the Upper Valley Co-op. It's triple filtered.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that is, but it's sort of fun to say. Triple filtered. You know?
Yeah.
They give free water to the community. Free water. Way to go, Upper Valley Co-op. Water's a big thing. We'll be talking about that. Water expert David Bruce Vincelette.
Made mostly of water, actually.
We are. What is it, 80%, 60%?
I don't know. It depends on the day. Sometimes it's about 40% beer.
Not tonight.
No, not
This will
me.
be the first, every show from now on, because we're going to be here every Wednesday. We're making a huge commitment.
Tastes like lemon.
Maybe we're on more days. There's some magnesium in there.
Oh, nice.
There's magnesium.
Does that keep me regular?
There's if you have too much of it, it gives you diarrhea. So you don't want to do that.
Okay, how will I know when it's too much? I understand.
Yeah, you get loose.
Okay.
But they say take it at night and it's relaxing. So you should definitely have that because you have a lot of stress in your life, don't you?
Yeah, I think I do. Now that I think of it. Yeah.
Why do you have so much stress?
I shouldn't have much. The electric was off this morning. Kind of
Where do we
threw a
even,
wrench in my day. So, but
where do we even begin? Dave's electric has been turned on and off. Well, it's a regular thing,
Yeah.
because Dave just
don't-
never has any.
because I don't pay
He just
myself.
never has any money
they're
to pay
such
your.
sticklers.
Why don't you just find a way to make enough money to pay your goddamn
No,
electric
I don't
bill?
have that kind of language, especially on
Especially on public access TV.
public access TV.
Yeah, you know what's happened when I said God?
What?
Part of my brain, I had that like devil. The angel said, "Don't say damn. That's wrong. Don't say it." And then I said, "No, free speech. We should share it. It may be a good thing." I was judging my use of it before it ever left my mouth. And then can I tell you something? As I said, God damn, as I ended it, part of me went, "Nah, you shouldn't have done that." Before you even said, I don't think the Lord's
Just get that part back a little quicker. Somebody was saying the difference between having a thought and trying to back it up and having a thought and not being able to back it is only a few hundredths of a second. It's better just to have that rule in place so you don't have to try to undo it. The thing about swearing is then you can't undo it. But I swear that won't happen again.
But a good swear. It's
Sure
funny,
feels good, doesn't it?
when I started, but here's my opinion on swear. I
You
don't.
said it didn't feel good.
Well, first of all, I don't believe in any naughty language. So language is sound vibration leaving your mouth. The beat, pizza, pie, blanket, baby, water, tree, all these things that I can do with my mouth. I don't think it's right to, hey, if you do this thing, if you say that sound vibration,
Right.
You're bad, you're wrong, it's terrible. It's like, hey.
No, it's like most things. There's kind of a level playing field where people all communicate in a playful, fun kind of way. There's some basic ground rules where you kind of know, have an idea what makes people uncomfortable.
Well, that's the important thing. The important thing is that so if someone said why I shouldn't swear, a great response would be because you're making people uncomfortable.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why but there's a time and a place, like when I was doing comedy shows,
Yeah.
there were certain comics that weren't clean, they never swore, and
Were
wasn't.
Were they employed or were they struggling?
Both, all
Yeah.
sorts of. There's so many. Most comics are struggling. They're all struggling. But yeah, it is easier to get work if you can just know you can work a school, you can work anything if you can
Yes.
work clean. But there are certain, bits or jokes that if you don't have that F word
Yeah.
It never gets the laugh. It just sometimes like it is a word that does have feeling and meaning and purpose. What's interesting is I went to a Tony Robbins seminar in L.A. Tony Robbins, the motivational self improvement guru.
Yeah.
5,000 people in a huge room. He's on stage.
Did he touch you personally?
And he did.
Nice.
He touched me in a very deep way. I mean, it's nonstop. It's like a nonstop 4-day feel good, hug everyone, explore your own brain, your relationship, your psychology, explore your whole life and the patterns. But one thing that he does is he swears, and he talks about in the beginning.
Yeah.
He goes, for a long time I never swore, but I realized that using swear words at appropriate times can communicate messages.
Yes.
And if I think a swear word is necessary to produce a feeling or communicate I think is going to benefit, then I'm going to use that. So there does become the conscious, I would say rather than don't swear, be mindful or be conscious of your vocabulary. Because there is a time and a place for everything. As Margaret Thatcher said, everything in moderation, including moderation.
But she never kissed Churchill. Yes, many.
It's the Ryan and Dave show.
Many things in moderation, but not everything in moderation. But
Do you have to go somewhere, Dave? You have to go to the bathroom?
no, probably.
It's
Is that 2 minutes yet?
it's 6:20 p.m.
When I was a kid, my parents, well, we lived at my grandparents' house, and in order to keep us to be somewhat quiet at the table while we ate, we would be allowed to have 2 minutes after dinner to get up and make fools of ourselves or anybody. And so that was how that was called our 2 minutes. And
That's great.
it was. It kept kids kind of under control.
I think that's a vision we have for this show. Is we if there's
Keeping us under
people out there, artists out there that want to share something, we're going to try to build a platform to share.
It's so hard to get messages out in this community over a broad platform. Maybe this could turn into something where we could.
Why is that? Can you explore that last thing you said? It's hard to get
I've
messages.
been struggling trying to get information out about a problem, and it's been such an eye opener to me that I'm sure a lot of people have no idea that like
We should probably start from the
local
beginning.
entertainment and newspapers and things like that really are very selective about what information they put out, and can be really daunting.
It's kind of like if I'm a viewer at home and I'm watching this, I'm going, I want to know the story. Who is this man?
Uh-oh.
How should we do it, Dave? Can we tell? Can we?
I don't know. I don't know.
You got to kind of start from the. Man, I mean, if part of what we're doing, part of the reason why we're doing this show is to definitely document your whole story from the very beginning. I mean, you're in a situation now where you're facing foreclosure on your house. You're facing loss of access to your home. You've been battling with a town for years and years about polluting water and all these. There's been a lot. You've been in jail.
I've been in jail
in the past year. You're David Vincelette is not a normal everyday person. He is an environmental frontlines activist.
Wacko.
That's living in Hanover, New Hampshire, that a lot of people think is crazy and a wacko. But if anyone knew him, you go, he's a brilliant, fun, intelligent, smart, caring person that really loves the planet, has an amazing wife and 2 amazing daughters, and an amazing mom. And
I've been blessed by God beyond anything than anybody could ever expect.
And he's also, go ahead.
Yeah, and I have land and water that I mean to protect, and I plan to do it. I'm a retired veteran, and I feel like every citizen has an obligation to stand up. Veterans more than anybody, especially veterans that made it back from whatever they did safely and want to continue to make this country great.
No one thinks about that. When these veterans, when we think of the Army, you were in the Army. Mm-hmm. When you think of the military, I think of people who they go out and they're in war. That's kind of how I visualize them. Like they're not in the U.S. They're going out and they're protecting, right?
Right.
But as someone who's in the Army, when you come home and you're in the United States,
Right.
you must still have a
Still
sense
trained.
of no, but let's protect this. You can always make this
Yeah.
better, right?
Yeah.
That's why my friend says, he goes, I think all the Army, all the military needs to come home and protect the watershed. That's what he says, step one,
Yeah. Well,
protect the watershed.
That's what I've called my thing was environmental militia. That's what I've always considered my group and people who.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Because I mean, everybody talks about the militia, and but each person has a duty in their own watershed to stand up to make sure that the watershed where their family drinks is protected. And then if you start thinking about people in the next watershed who are your friends, you start thinking, well, maybe we should take care of their watershed. Everybody, all the water needs to be protected, but we should be extra mindful of. And we've thought some about that, how that with your family, the ideas of family, the idea of watershed are very similar, because normally your family's drinking from the same watershed. So historically, people acted to protect the waters that they were using for their family, for their town, for their city. But somehow it's broken down to where gas stations and different entities that pollute are just allowed to get away with lack supervision and lack of interest even by the public as to where the waters from runoff of different things, from the salt and the waste dumping and the different things, where the water goes, whether it's in their water or because they have water coming from the town through pipes. Maybe people just no longer worry about the fact that the water in the brooks, the rivers, and the lakes is declining in quality.
I don't think people do.
I think they just don't know.
I don't think there's I've seen the environmental movement, right? And I don't think when people go, we need to clean the water, I don't think that message definitely strikes a chord with a lot of people. I've seen environmental activists, Greenpeace, Sierra Club. There's definitely people who work to make sure the earth is healthy.
Right.
But it is not but if you walk down Greensboro Road,
Right.
you will see trash on the side of that road every day that I pick up when I go walk my dog.
Yeah.
So in a small Hanover, New Hampshire town that's rated 2011 Newsweek second best
Place
small
to
town to
live
live
in
with in the
America,
United States, people are still driving, rolling down their window and throwing garbage out the window.
Yeah,
I go, that's the problem that no one is addressing.
It's part of it, huh?
I don't think people, and that's why I think the environmental, if you're an animal and you watch Society and you watch the Native Americans and then you watch, you would be kind of cool to Native. You go, okay, hey, they kill some bear and but they're kind of they're not mass destroying.
Right. Not wastefully destroying. Yeah.
Then you take the Native Americans, you transition to the modern day humanity where there's huge floating plastic things in the ocean and just like radiation washing up in California. You can't eat fish anymore or you'll get mercury. We're living in a toxic waste dump of our own design, and it's just like, well, how could that happen? Because the planet, having a healthy biosphere, isn't enough of it's not making people do it, and even to modern day, I'm not. I look at how I live. I recycle, but I'm still throwing. Every time I throw something in the garbage, like a bag, like a potato chip bag, and I go, I can't recycle.
Whether you throw it in the garbage or not, if you're always using plastic, it's going to outlive you and it's going to be there. So if we're using all these different forms to cover every fish we eat with 2 or 3 layers of plastic, just imagine every fish in the ocean with 3 layers of plastic. That's where we're headed.
But I'm saying, I'm aware of these things. I try to make choices to use less, to reuse, yes. But I still am contributing.
Yeah.
Because hey, I didn't ask to be born. I was born in '84. I was born in. I was.
Yeah, since then to stay alive?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
But I was born into a world that was already polluting at a huge mass rate for a long
the world's
time.
always been polluting. There's always been volcanoes and oil seeping in the ocean. It's a question of, are we smart enough to grow as a race to not destroy our world? I mean,
I know.
are we going to pretend we don't know that these chemicals are reaching the water? Or
Yeah, I
gonna
get-
just
but we still-
act intelligently to prevent it.
But we kind of sort of are. I mean, right now, the fact that you can go to a gas station and pump gas into a vehicle and light it on fire
Yeah.
and then roll around anywhere you want to go, and it's $2 a gallon.
Right.
It's like, well, this is terrible for the environment. Aren't we just, these cars just like, aren't we just drilling this thing out of the planet? And then,
if we keep-
don't we need to get off of oil like immediately? It's all like 2000, all the things are always like 30 years away. Do you notice that? It's always like ready for 100 or ready for 2050, ready to, it's like,
The acceleration.
why can't we just do it? What can we do right now?
Well,
We can start making steps every day to like use less things, use less, use less, use less.
Well, how would we have gotten to this radio show if we didn't have a gas-powered vehicle? We'd have had to miss this show.
Yeah, we'd have to
We
call.
would not
We
be
have
able
to call a friend.
So-
We have to call a friend who has a Tesla.
Yeah. You have to make choices based on the available technology. But yeah, things are.
Yeah, but the thing is, man could say that. What if someone said, "Well, you know what, Dave? Humanity was so we were bursting at the seams with technology, and we were like, let's make an amazing infrastructure for humanity to exist. So we made the huge cities and all the, and it got like out of control."
Yeah. Seems like, things are so complicated. These giant systems.
I just think there's so much polluting that goes on every single day.
But our technology is doing amazing things. I don't know. The idea of a self-driving car, the first time I heard that was just laughable. Of course, people aren't laughing who drive off a pier thinking they're getting on a boat and the thing drove off incorrectly. But that doesn't happen very much, not nearly as much as I thought it was going to happen. And I mean, some of these miracles, and maybe with the plastics, the new generations of plastics that aren't petroleum-based, maybe they'll be able to make recyclables that are actually recyclable.
Well, that's the amazing thing is there's always humans being born that are just like
Humans,
turning
smart
into geniuses who are figuring out ways to use all of this plastic to do something good and like, and that's Mother Nature. We're a part of Mother Nature, and she sure has a way to just keep going and sort of wipe us off the face of the planet.
Yeah, and although the world
whenever
is
she
huge,
wants.
there's a lot of people out there, so we have to be mindful of just everything we use. We have to be at least mindful of whether we should use it, and our governments have to be smart about what chemicals can be available to the public and it's not just
Getting
our
rich,
country.
greed has allowed people to say, I don't.
If you want to eat, I can understand how you put poison on bugs and stuff. But at some point, we can only destroy so much.
What do you think about Monsanto?
But genetic modification?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a really bad idea. Too much genetic.
Here's the thing: is I think people try to change I'm interested in changing the world, worldwide revolution. That's what I'm into. And so, how do we make it so that
Making things better.
just make everything better?
Yeah.
Yeah, in your little way, and then if everyone does that, everything will always get better.
Yeah.
That's what Dave says.
That's how I used to say. Yeah.
But I think that I've just noticed a lot of people do these things of create a cause for the environment.
Right.
And I because I'm interested in feelings, so I'm a doctor of feeling medicine. I like to study human emotion. That's what I'm very curious about. And so when I see people talk about the environment, I see some people get on board their cause.
It's like a Dr. Seuss kind of doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Just like the one who,
Okay.
came to Dartmouth,
Yeah.
Mr. Geisel.
Yes. Theodore.
And so
Ted.
Totally forgot what I was talking about. Ted Kaczynski, though, is in prison. We should go visit him in Colorado. Maximum Security. He just came up with a new book.
He's still alive. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, he just wrote a new book about how to make the world a better place.
Is he allowed to publish it?
They can publish it for like there's some
His manifesto, wasn't that?
His manifesto
Was that published?
was published in the Washington Post and the New York Times.
Huh.
He said, if you publish my manifesto, I will stop
Bombing.
sending bombs. Yeah.
Huh. Son of a gun, huh?
I really, what's funny? I differ very strongly on my views on Ted Kaczynski.
You differ from yourself?
From other people. Everyone I talk to, and I tell them about this, they always disagree with me and sometimes get angry. I disagree with violence, disagree with killing, all that wrong. It should be said it's wrong, it should be taught that it's wrong, it should be said that's... But I don't think that you should silence anyone ever. I think that people should be able to read what Hitler wrote. People should be able to read what... and then if there's something in Mein Kampf, you say, hey, this paragraph is actually brilliant. Read it. It makes sense. I agree. Yeah. That's what a smart person can do.
Yeah.
And there's some things that Ted Kaczynski said that made a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I have an understanding of the anti-technology idea, a lot of it. And
he was like you. He freaked out. He came home to his cabin. That's why he snapped. No one knows this. He came home. He lived in the middle of nowhere. He said, I'm living in peace in a cabin.
Right.
And he did for years.
Where
and then...
Wyoming?
No,
Montana?
I think it was in Montana.
I think so.
Montana or Wyoming, Utah. I think it was in Montana. But it was in one of those places, and it was all wilderness. And that's the place that he would always get away, and it would make him feel at home and peace because he would see what he saw is we're destroying the whole planet.
Yeah.
This is insane.
He's not the only one who sees it.
Right?
Yeah.
And so he's living there in his cabin, and then he comes back one day. He's been away for like a couple months, and he comes back, and there's a huge fucking road and asphalt. What?
Nothing.
Oh, there's a huge asphalt cement highway cutting behind his cat and going up through he broke down. He broke down.
Yeah.
And then the killings began. He goes, it doesn't work. I need the whole humanity is completely insane. He just saw like thousands and thousands of huge evergreens, everything's just asphalt, just destroying a landscape. All of that, and then as we know about parking lots and asphalt, destroys watersheds, not permeable, toxic. It's just a whole.
It's made out of petroleum product. And where's it going to go?
And so, okay, man, and it's what it makes you think of you because you had a home that was torn down by the town of Hanover because for not paying your property taxes.
Because I was upset that they were polluting the water.
Because they were dumping asphalt back to Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah, I didn't react that way.
No, you didn't.
I was peaceful.
You were peaceful.
I filed for an injunction, tried to get it stopped, and they lied in court and said they had never spread the material there. And then they tore down my house.
Town of Hanover Trucks was dumping ground up asphalt on roads.
All the dirt
up Ming Road that are made out of, that are dirt roads. They're dumping this because and they say that they maintain that it's legal to do that, and they're maintaining the road and doing.
They're not telling the truth.
And the town of Hanover would say that. We're making safe roads. We're making those roads so people who live in those roads can drive safe, and we stand behind it.
It's not asphalt. It's a recycled product. That's what Peter Kubacki says. But the product is a product that they have ground up from local contractors and parking lots. They grind it up and then substitute for gravel on the dirt roads. I've tried. The state says they're finally going to do a examination or some type of thing about the grinding operation they run, because they let private contractors and friends of the Dartmouth family dump their asphalt waste. So, but then when it's put on the roads, of course, it washes into the brook, and they pretend they don't know that water runs downhill. But
this is so funny. Everything's
for those of us who know. Anyway, so I've been battling with them a long time, but I haven't chosen violence. I've chosen nonviolent, And the law.
They've chosen some violence. You were put in chains.
Put me in chains numerous times. I was beaten at the president of the college office when I tried to get him to stop polluting.
You got to tell the
my
story.
children.
You got to tell the story on air for the first time of you, David Vincelette, fighting for clean water, trying to tell the story of you and the president.
I'd called and written the president's office for 3 college presidents. It was Dr. Kim. What was her name? Oh, I can't remember her name. She was a short-term hire during the time they were finding President Handlin. Anyway, I emailed, and President Folt was her name. I think she's at North Carolina Chapel Hill now. But anyway, I emailed all of them, asked them, and I emailed the public affairs office, asked them to please stop using being part of the program with Hanover that polluted the brooks, because it was polluting their own students, and it was a violation of the hazing policy at Dartmouth, a violation of the several policies at Dartmouth. And after a while, I was being hung up on, so I went to the president's office to ask for a meeting during his open office hours, and the woman at the desk hit a security button because she knew I was the man who had called about the asphalt waste, and summoned.
I love that they have a security button, by the way.
She hit a security emergency button, which she didn't tell me she had done. So I'm just standing there asking her about, why they won't talk to me about polluting of my children, and whether it's going to be a black eye to the college if the college doesn't do something about it. So she summons the head of security, and security guards come up, grab me, throw me on the ground, rough me up, put me in chains. Hanover police arrive. They torture me with chains. Then they take me outside, take me to jail. And for that, I was accused of assault, and I was found guilty of assault, even though I think there were 5 people that all testified that other people had grabbed me first, and that I pushed the one security guard. But I was trying to protect myself. Anyway, that's the way that worked out. So I haven't been allowed on Dartmouth property since that time. Although I was arrested for going on Dartmouth property when they were taking parking lots up at the medical school. They were taking up parking lots to go into the recycling, and I followed them in and filed a complaint, but nothing is ever done about any of the complaints I've filed so far. Hopefully, at some point, there will be. But I still maintain under the RSAs, I think it's 146, any spilling of asphalt waste on the roads is supposed to be reported and cleaned up. It's just like it's under a state law, asphalt waste is considered to be an oil. So any amount of it, especially if it's over 25 gallons, is supposed to be reported. Now, Hanover's been dumping 40-ton truckloads all up and down the watershed for years. So, but they've never filed, as far as I can tell, they've never filed a single permit for cleanup of that asphalt waste they've been dumping. And it goes all the way to the top of the Moose Mountain. It goes along the Appalachian Trail corridor, which is all supposed to be federally protected. Okay, these waters are supposed to be federally protected. They're some of the highest quality waters in the state. Mink Brook is like, I think it's class 1, but it only is class 1 for a while. Then it goes down and turns into has asphalt waste right in the bed where the rain puts it every time it rains. But if you go ahead.
It's important to know that you drank from this. This is the original connection was you drank from Mink Brook.
It is our drinking source in my land. I've lived in my land for 33 years, and when I got the land, there was a book in the house talking about how to take care for winter and take a cistern and bring water in from the brook to run the house. But so historically, of course, it was the brook was the source. But at this point, it's questionable because it comes off the road. So it's got the salt, the asphalt waste is being dumped in. There's a gas station just up from us. So there's a number of competing ills. That
There's pollution there's oil going into that brook. And it's amazing how hard it is to get it to stop because it's just so.
Nobody even listens. Nobody even wants to hear about it. Everybody just has given up.
Do you think that gas station by Mink Brook that gas station is in violation right now?
Yeah,
It should be shut down. Like it should be shut down now. Like this is a environmental hazard. This is wrong.
If you go to the gas station, there's a pipe.
Gas station when you're entering Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical
It's
off 120.
It's an Irving station. Irving is the big supplier of all of Dartmouth's heating oil. They furnish low quality number 6 oil, high sulfur burning oil. And they have a gas station there that has tanks that burst, and they replaced the tanks, but they weren't ordered to replace the dirt around it. So they've been in a remediation program, cleaning up the site. But since that time, if you go behind the station, the brook is right there, and they have a pipe going from the pumps, where the pumps are, that runs downhill, picks up all the water that comes off of the pump area, and takes it right into the brook. And in the brook, you'll see safety barriers for erosion that are actually sitting in the brook. I mean, and I've contacted people at the town for the last year or two, went to studies they did about how they were going to change the gas station around and modify it, and they wouldn't let me speak, wouldn't talk to me about pollution. I've talked to the town's safety officer, or health officer, Michael Hinsley. Talked to him last summer, or maybe the summer before, about the fact that they were using coal tar sealant at that gas station. He tried to get him to stop, but he wasn't able to get him to stop. I mean, the officials can't even do anything, and the public. I understand why people give up, because it's like impossible to get DES or anybody to do anything, but got to keep trying. Can't give up.
This is crazy.